What you're doing is game changing. A lot of people don't know what we've been through. They don't understand from the outside looking in. They're like, well, yeah, those guys they do Bitcoin, but they don't understand I'll go as far as say the oppression that we've experienced by being in this business.
I mean, it's been difficult, that's for sure. The previous administration could not have done more to attack the industry from behind the scenes, whether it's Choke Point 2.0 with Marty Grubenberg, who's the guy they brought back from Choke Point 1.0, who was part of the Obama administration. And I don't know if he hasn't resigned yet. I don't know if you've heard about his sexual harassment.
Yep.
All sorts of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Trump, watching his speech today, I mean, RFK Jr. this yesterday, RFK Jr. is much further along on his journey, right? But Trump's starting, right? And you can kind of see there are certain things that he gets, and he understands the innovation, the business, the opportunity, right? Like he said, the renegades, the Wright brothers, that you guys are these pushing innovation forward, right? And it's nothing more American than that.
So true. And he also said he's going to fire Gensler, right?
It's hugely. He didn't expect that. He's like, how the fuck do these guys even know who that is?
Yeah, we know.
Let us tell you what's been going on for the past 4 years.
Exactly.
You go down the rabbit hole and you start learning about privacy and the history of money and game theory and computer science. I'm going to develop. How can I participate? How can I plug in?
Yeah.
What I found out was, I could be a miner. I could just kind of plug in. I don't have to ask anybody. I can just be a part of this and support this network. And to me, it was like something super powerful about that. Welcome to the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. We're here at day 3 and I'm here with Action.
Dude, I'm so excited. But I don't want to take the thunder away from you because you got to explain the why, right? You see people day in, day out in this mining space. I've started mining back in 2012, so I've seen it all. But you're doing something different. You're bringing people down here, you're actually interviewing them, talking to them. Why?
So I've been behind the scenes for, you were 2012. I'm about 2014 when I first, I graduated college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I got on the internet, went down some rabbit holes. Why am I here? What, how can I give back to the world? What's my calling? What's my mission? Right. And, I saw this video about Bitcoin. What the hell is this? Is this like some scam, some Ponzi scheme?
Sometimes.
Just didn't understand it. I just didn't quite get it. Right. It's like Bitcoin is like this genius thing. It's like, it's almost looked like a Ponzi scheme, right? And then you're like, holy shit! You go down the rabbit hole and you start learning about privacy and the history of money and game theory and computer science, and I could go on and on and on, right? Because Bitcoin has so many different areas that people are all in their little niches, right? And I wasn't I played football in college, right? I wasn't. I'm not stupid, but I'm not a developer. I'm not. How can I participate? How could I plug in? Right?
Yeah.
And what I found out was, I could be a miner. I could just kind of plug in. I don't have to ask anybody. I can just be a part of this and support this network. And to me, it was like something super powerful about that, right? And, part of the Bitcoin ethos has always been, privacy and being under the radar. And that's kind of how I've always operated, right? And in the past year, my CMO I brought him on as our marketing chief marketing officer, and he's really pushed me to be more public and to talk about this. And
you're pretty good at it, I was just going to say.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm nervous. I'm not, this is new to me, right? So, but, the past 4 years especially have been very difficult with the industry getting debanked, those types of things. Even, people are like, oh, is this really happening? Like, yes, it's really happening. Like, I had to, my credit union that I used for 5, 6, 7 years, multiple businesses, they were basically like, hey, we're debanking you because of, And I escalated to the vice president, right, of my credit union and said, listen, your mission statement is you're 80%, 90% based on relationships. It's in your mission statement. And to their credit, they rescinded
that's phenomenal.
They overruled the whatever department and they said, you know what, you're right. We're going to keep your account. You've been a good operator, right? But for so many people that I know, that's not the story. Choke Point 2.0 cut them off multiple times, multiple accounts, and I opened a bunch of other bank accounts after that. I'm like, I'm not going to get stuck with just, you learn your lesson, right? So stuff like that, watching the SEC operate with faith, people like Gary Gensler, who, you watch his MIT lectures and it's very clear he understands technology.
Absolutely.
He's like, these things are not securities and saying all this stuff. And then a year or two later, you see him go on and now he has power and you see him abuse his power.
Absolutely.
That is the hallmark of an authoritarian, right? So I don't know how he looks himself in the mirror every day. Honestly, it's like, how can you be educated on this? Teach classes on this, and then go and contradict yourself that you taught your students, and now you're the chair of the SEC, the head of the SEC, doing all these things, wasting taxpayer money, just attacking good operators, right? it's disgusting.
It is.
In a lot of ways. It's disgusting, right? So these things got me upset, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's time to. And there's this phrase that, there's this phrase with the privacy and Cypherpunk'd community, which is Cypherpunks write code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not all of us can write code, right? So I'm stepping out a little bit to, get the word out there and help to educate people and talk to people a little bit more.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, I completely agree with you. Like, I started mining early. I know how to mine. I have different kinds of roadblocks, right? I'm in Southern California. My peak hours are 83 cents. So good luck trying to mine with that. It's
kudos to you for being able to, for still living there.
Yeah, no.
I live in Florida. I couldn't imagine.
Believe me. There are other reasons that I still have to be there. I have an amazing wife who needs to be where she's at. Otherwise, I would have been gone. But you're doing a lot for the space. If you really think about it, I think something that people don't understand is that, yeah, you can mine all day long, but more and more you have institutions mining. And the little guy, the small people that we want to be node operators, they can't be because they're being priced out. There's just not the opportunity there. And doing this, having conversations, bringing people in who are in it, really opens the eyes of others and allows people to understand what's happening here. So, like, to me, it's really refreshing to know that somebody may not know how to code, but is so excited about the industry, so excited about what Bitcoin is and what it does, that you want to spread that word and you want to get more people excited about it. Let's go back to the people, because you've interviewed a few people today, right?
I've interviewed a lot of people today.
Yeah.
My CMO is like, he's not going to bother me for like a month now.
That's awesome. So what's the feeling? Like, I mean, we're here, Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville. It's been an amazing experience, but how are people feeling about this space?
Honestly, today, it felt like the fucking Super Bowl. That's honestly how I felt. You got Pete Rizzo up there talking, you got Matt O'Donnell up there. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm like, I feel like I'm at the fucking Super Bowl. Like, we've got a surprise guest coming, he's flying in, and Trump's about to take the stage. And it's just 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I mean, you just would have never imagined. It's just, now we are at the crux of, political attention and, eyeballs on our industry. And it's a great inflection point. And I think this is like, this is the point where we win, right?
Yeah.
We win. It's been, I mean, they couldn't have, the previous administration could not have, almost done more to attack our industry from behind the scenes, whether it's Choke Point 2.0 with, Marty Gruenberg, who's the guy they brought back from Choke Point 1.0, who was part of the Obama administration. And he's, I don't know how he hasn't resigned yet. I don't know if you heard about his sexual harassment. There's like all sorts of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how this guy still is in power, but this is the world. I guess Elizabeth Warren is like defending him. I mean, like, it blows my mind, right? And what he's doing is blatantly unconstitutional.
Sure.
He they got sued in court previously when he was part of the Obama administration. The court said this is unconstitutional. Why are you doing these types of things? Whether it's gun companies or marijuana companies or whatever, porn companies, payday lenders, companies that they didn't necessarily, I might not like some of them. You might not like some of them.
Absolutely.
But they are legal businesses.
Yeah.
And, you don't get a right to just enforce your values on everybody, right? And he was told that by the court, and yet he's back doing the same thing again, but with crypto companies, And at the time, I couldn't believe it. Like I told you about my my situation with my local credit union, but also I was onboarding with a bank that was local that was putting on events to attract blockchain and crypto companies. And right as the administration rolled over, within like a month or so, as I was going through the onboarding process, they're like, "Hey, sorry, we can't do this anymore." I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "We can't talk about it." I'm like, what is going on here? So for those of you who may doubt it, the Choke Point 2.0, very, very real. And just not a good thing for America, right? We don't
Absolutely.
That's not the place for those types of things.
And I mean, ultimately, push his business out, right?
Yeah,
you want people to transact legally, or do you want Bitcoin to go overseas?
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Pushing developers, talent, and Trump. Watching his speech today, I mean, and RFK Jr. talked about this yesterday. RFK Jr. is much further along on his Bitcoin journey, right? But Trump's starting, right? And you can kind of see there are certain things that he gets, and he understands the innovation, the business, the opportunity, right? Like he said, the Renegades, the Wright brothers, that you guys are these pushing innovation forward, right? And it's nothing more American than that.
So true. And he also said he's going to fire Gensler, right?
It's hugely. He didn't expect that. He's like, how the fuck do these guys even know who that is?
Yeah, we know.
Let's tell you what's been going on for the past 4 years.
Exactly. We've been in the thick of things. And it's so crazy to think about that. A lot of people don't know what we've been through. Yeah. They don't understand from the outside looking in. They're like, well, yeah, those guys they do Bitcoin. But they don't understand I'll go as far as say the oppression that we've experienced by being in this business.
I mean, it's been difficult, that's for sure. It's definitely, but you know what? It's part of what makes us resilient, as a community. We're here for a bigger mission, bigger ethos.
Yeah.
So we'll fight through that, and we have, right? And we're coming out the other side of that. And I'm hopeful for the next 4 years to be the best 4 years we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? With we should be attracting talent, attracting innovation, fostering business, right? Regulatory rules and things that make sense for our industry, written and advised by our industry, right? So here's what makes sense for us.
Yeah.
Here's the rules of the road for companies, right? Companies that are like, for example, FTX.
Sure.
How did they do what they did? Well, there was no, regulatory clarity there for a huge company that's custodying all these customers' funds, right? I mean, and that's a failure, right? So let's rectify that, right? Let's empower individuals with the Constitution and our rights. But for companies like FTX, hey, if you're going to custody these people's funds, these are the rules. These are the guidelines. Right. You can't just fucking go gamble it all on whatever the fuck you want and go hang out in the Bahamas and pretend you're driving a Toyota Corolla or whatever the hell he was pretending he was driving, right? I mean, thinking he's God, taking all this money and donating it to all these politicians who have essentially crushed us, right?
Exactly.
Wars going on, crushed us, record high levels of inflation, printing money. I mean, just absolute chaos, right? So
now going back to the good work that you're doing, you interviewed a lot of people, but why are you doing it? Like, is there a company behind it? Is there more behind telling people stories?
So we are Consensus Protocol, but we're starting this media branch, which is, going to start off with our new podcast called Cypherpunk'd. And my first guest is going to be Aaron Van Weerdem from the Bitcoin magazine. He's one of the editors, and we're going to really go down the rabbit hole of his new book, the Genesis book, and sort of talk about, what led up to the creation of Bitcoin. Who are the cypherpunks? What's our mission here? Is this something that just came out of thin air, or were there all these other great, like Trump said, renegades and people who thought outside the box and inventors and idealists? Did they put forth all these tools that the creator of Bitcoin put together to form this beautiful system, right? So that's going to be kind of the intro to give people the introduction and also talk about why privacy is important,
Absolutely.
why human rights are important, right? So that's kind of my mission, and that speaks to my soul, I guess. Hopefully it does to yours.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the reason why I'm here. I mean, I'm not here for the tech. I'm not here for any of that. I can figure that stuff out at home. Yeah. I'm here for the people. Yeah. I'm here for the people that are making a difference and making an impact and looking to grow, looking to learn. So the most exciting thing about conferences to me is getting those one-on-one interactions. This right here,
this
right?
Is special,
this is what makes a huge difference. When I go home, I'm not going to remember maybe some of the things that people said on stage.
We can watch that later on YouTube.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. But the interactions, the relationships that we build here, those last a lifetime.
Yeah, I can, I met the guy who created the meme the other day. His name's Peter. He created the When Lambo meme or whatever. But hearing his story and his testimony about how he formed his business, and just knowing that there's other people, entrepreneurs and stuff that have gone through some of the same things, right? It's Bitcoin is this, and I think Trump said this on stage too. He said, I've been in all these rooms before, and usually it's like, all these people, usually they all hate each other. They're all working against each other. It's like, I'm hearing like all the miners, like they're all cooperating. What's going on? This is different, right? Yeah. And there's a meaning and an ethos and something truly special about Bitcoin and the industry itself at large, right? So, and the technologies and the founders and the inventors and the cryptographers and all the people, the privacy activists, there's a higher purpose and a higher calling here that helps benefit the human spirit and the human mission.
Yeah,
right? It pushes us forward.
It's so special. I mean,
it's a species, right? This is a tool for this. This is a tool for humanity. I think there was another quote that someone said, is like, we were too early to go to the moon or something like that, or too early to, remember the top of my head, but it was like, we're too early to do and we're too late to travel we're too early to travel the stars, and we're too late to to do something else, but we're just in time to fix the money, right? So
absolutely.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe you can.
No, but I mean, ultimately, it's exactly what you're saying. Like, we get along, and it's not that we are like, I want money, you want money. We all can. There's plenty to go around, right? I did a couple of interviews with some of the people that were hosting, right? Terra hosting. Like, Mike is like, yeah, buy it from somebody else. Host with me if you want. Host somebody else. Just start money, right? The excitement here is not necessarily for you to spend money with one individual. It's about you getting in this industry and contributing to it. That to me means the world. I mean,
I've met so many people that I talked about this with Wesley. Like, Wesley he just took over because we're in Florida. We have an organization called the FBBA, and a guy named Samron, and we got forward in Florida, the anti-CBDC law. Don't spy on us. don't create. We won't allow money
Yeah.
here that's going to allow the government to, abuse our rights and spy on us. Right? We put that forth in Florida. Many other states copied it, but he's now taking over as the FBBA, as the lead of that, and pushing forward with that mission. So he's coming through it. He runs a local meetup in Tampa. I run a local meetup, in Naples, Fort Myers area. So we work together, and that's our grassroots mission.
What was his name?
Wesley.
Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley.
Awesome.
Wesley Schlemmer. So he's taken over as the.
Very cool, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very awesome.
So Bitcoin is his kind of what his meetup is called. But then there's people in the mining space, brokering deals, right? And there's people building side chains and tools. Right? Then there's people, educating others, right? The education aspect, right? And I think people doing investment companies, there's all these different, niches and areas of why. And then, I spoke to Jameson Locke, who's a privacy activist. He's working on custodianship and working for the company Casa and making the best, most secure way to store your Bitcoin, right? So there's all these different people are in their niches, and we're all working toward this mission, which is to further Bitcoin and further that ethos to the world. And we're still early. It's so early, right? It's so early.
It is. Then people are like, how long have you been in Bitcoin? Like a little while, but it's like, it's okay. Like, it's not like it's over. Like there's still plenty to go around. Yeah. Like just get in it as soon as possible. Like
that's zero. And people come to our meetup all the time, and we just say, look, just, $5 worth of Bitcoin so you can understand, to use the wallet, use the technology, do something like that. Just get your foot in the door, just learn, right? Experiment a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go down the rabbit hole.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but we're talking about really cool things that you're doing, interviewing incredible people in the space. When are we going to be able to see all these things? When are we going to see, the media company out there come to fruition, all the mining that you're working on? Like when?
So it's funny that you asked that. And my CMO, he's the one to answer that question, right? Because that is not my skill set. My skill set is not, that's his talent, right?
Okay, so you're going to say soon.
Soon, yeah. So starting next week, we are launching. Here, I can show you. I don't know if I can put it on the screen here, but we just built out this beautiful podcast studio, and we'll have to have you down in Naples to come talk some more. But you can kind of see here. This is going to be we made a custom cool table.
It looks phenomenal.
Studio.
Yeah.
So we're just starting on that journey. Right? So starting next week, you'll have the first episode. So there's your answers. That's when it's going to start.
Beautiful.
I have I did like a little kind of like test pod where I just kind of analyze topics on X and market stories about whether hey, this new technology is coming out, or what's happening here, or what's going on with the ETF, just kind of stuff like that. Yeah. So but also these interviews will be posted. We do have a channel. It's called Consensus Protocol. I don't know if that will be the final, what we'll finally call the channel. It's on YouTube. I think it's on Rumble. It's on, we're working on pushing it out on X and all these different platforms, but you can find us here. And we do have some content, but we're really going to start pushing out the content more. And here we go. Yeah, we got some content.
That's great.
So far. It's kind of been in stealth mode, but now we're going to really ramp up here. So,
beautiful.
And it looks like he is. It looks like our CMO is pushing out some of our interviews and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's Brandon, there's John Devine from Blockfill. Yeah. And I guess he's posting it here right now. So
phenomenal.
We're learning together.
That is so exciting.
And then there's Brandon from the Bitcoin conference. So a lot of cool, stuff, content we're going to try to produce.
So plenty of things for people to follow along.
Plenty of things.
Right. And what are the ones, like, if you can just quickly, website, Twitter, like what are the handles that people can find you guys at? So our Twitter handle is @ConsensusPro. And we're going to have, it'll be @Cypherpunk'd, I think, too. We're going to have, the handles for the podcast and any sub media. I just brought on I just brought on someone who's going to do an AI podcast called the AI Edge, which is Web3 is part of AI is part of Web3. It's the future of technology, the frontier of tech. So why we fix the money is an amazing mission, but also there's other technologies that are part of the industry, and there's a synergy there, right? Just speaking to Wesley about, a lot of the data centers of the future are going to, potentially we have an AI data center that can't really curtail load, but if you put, maybe 20% of that power, 30% of that power as a Bitcoin mine that can turn off if there's a problem, you can really have a more stable grid. So a lot of these technologies will work together to push humanity forward, I think. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, what would be your call to action for somebody that's looking from the outside in and saying, these guys are a little crazy, maybe should I be checking this thing out?
Well, the call to action is, dig a little bit under the hood. It's okay to be skeptical of things, right? Skepticism should be your natural order. And I think we've seen that evolution in many people, whether it's, Michael Saylor, who was initially skeptical, whether it was Donald Trump, he was initially skeptical, right? And I think that's a natural response, and that's good. It's good to be skeptical, right? But take the time to do your research and go under the hood, right? And understand that there may be more that meets the eye, right? And I think
Absolutely.
for everyone who really hears about Bitcoin, it's, but when you actually dig under the hood a little bit, you'll see the value proposition. You'll educate yourself about the value proposition, the game theory, the financial incentives, the ability to stop governments from printing money to go to war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, to me, one of the biggest things about Bitcoin that I find the most dear to my heart, which is like, if you look at a history of money and you look at, the current fiat system that we live under, and you look at how World War I was funded with the original detachment of the dollar and the devaluation, which is essentially theft from the people who did not, if you had to raise the money from them to give money to go fight some war because Franz Ferdinand from whatever country got shot by somebody from whatever country that 99% of Americans probably couldn't point out on a map, that ain't going to happen, right? And we're not going for that, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of, the appeal of people like Trump who really, why do we need to be involved in all these wars? Why do we need to be doing all this stuff? We really don't, right?
No, absolutely. I'm 100% with you.
And look at the chaos and destruction that was caused from World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And it was deadlier and more violent than it needed to be because they were able to keep printing the money to produce the war, to fund the war machine, right? And then the fallout from that, if you trace that to World War II, what did World War I do at the aftermath of World War I? It created the conditions for Hitler's rise to power and the creation of, and the start of World War II, right? The hyperinflation that occurred in the Weimar Republic, because when you have a war, you go and steal all the goods and the gold, whatever it may be, and the loser gets fucked, right? They really lose, and the people of that civilization lose. But at the end of the day, humanity loses because look what Hitler did in World War II, and had that vacuum of power never happened in World War I, and that Austria and Germany really paid the price for that. Had they not paid that price, and the whole world put the boot on their throat, right? Would Hitler have risen to power? Would that nationalism have ever happened? Would the conditions of that, so it's like the butterfly effect through time, right? And you can trace it all back to, in my opinion, the detachment in 1913, the creation of the Fed, all these things. So there's so many different rabbit holes you can go down, whether it's the history of money, like I said, or game, so many different things.
You guys are in for a treat. You're in for a treat with all these podcasts and all the media that's going to be coming out. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, we're going to go down the rabbit hole on some things. So
that is incredible. Yeah, I mean, and on my side, like, if you do get curious, like, go online. I mean, especially if you're curious about mining, there's so many good content creators out there, from Red Panda to,
Red Panda's fantastic.
I mean, Tech Hustler is doing a lot of easy mining. I mean, you got Alex with Tactical Investing. You got Great Good Mining. I can keep like hobbyists. There's so many good people out there that you guys can like learn. Even if it's like the techie stuff that you want to figure out, there's plenty of resources out there for free. Just look for it. Just get involved. And so many of these people are actually willing to have conversations to say, you need help? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the cryptocurrency community in general is largely very accessible, right? If you want to learn more about a project, you can get into Discord, you can go into the Telegram group, you can, a lot of these YouTubers are accessible on Instagram, or on Discord, from Panda to Drew from Vosscoin to Bisbee Trippin to so many.
They're awesome, dude. They're just incredible people in the space. Like, and I wouldn't do it justice. I'm probably gonna forget like half of you guys. There's just so many of you doing so many good things, which is good because we need it, right? Ultimately, I don't think there's enough. There are definitely more eyeballs that have not seen crypto yet than content creators putting content out there. Like, it's still early, like you said.
But and we're early on in this next cycle, and when this is part of the game theory that's so brilliant, is like, when the number goes up, you know what that is? It's free marketing. So then we bring in the next wave of people who will find interest in this technology and who will learn about this technology, right?
Green candles, best marketing, man.
It really is. I mean, and Satoshi designed the game theory that way. If go back and read his forum posts, he actually talked about just that. He said, hey, this is how we're going to incentivize. This is our marketing. This is how we're going to incentivize people to come into the industry. It's going to be a game theoretical loop. And it was discussed on the Bitcoin Talk forum. And it's exactly how it's played out.
So now, because I do know a little bit of marketing, it's been 20 years since I've been doing it, we're going to cut this a little short just because we've probably been going forever. And I can talk to this man probably for hours. I have to do dinner or something, but we're going to cut it short because I want people to watch this from start to finish and check out all of the other incredible videos that are coming out from this channel. Thank you, Matty. Like, this was an incredible conversation.
Such a great conversation.
Well,
I'm surprised we just popped in. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Well, I appreciate not only you, but everybody that's going to be tuning in and listening to what we had to say. Because, hey, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.